I do.
Welcome everybody, this is Dr. G, and this is that Saturday. About 7 or 8 years ago, I had my tonsils removed. And if you get your tonsils removed, you have to go back for a post-op. That's what I did. And I remember right before it was time for me to go back for the post-op, like a week later or something along those lines, just to see, how's everything going. The doctor starts calling me. So they're like, hey, can you come in early and so forth? I'm like, what? Did I forget to pay a bill? Whatever it may be. So I get there early. I get there about an hour early. Now, you all know, if you've gone to the doctor or the dentist, you actually have to wait like 4 years in order to see the doctor. I'm just being serious, bringing lunch, everything. So I get there early, about an hour early, and the doctor comes out. He's like, hey, you should come back. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? So forth, because this never happens. So whenever you get to the room, you got to wait another 300 and 400 and 500 years because the doctor takes forever. So that didn't happen. As soon as I came in, like right afterwards, the actual doctor comes in. He asked me to sit down. So he sits down. I sit down, and he pulls up a chair next to me, and I remember this very vividly. He looks at me and he says, hey, you have cancer. And I remember all these different things are flashing before me. And it was a very rough time. I remember going through cancer treatments. I remember going to MD Anderson and so forth. And I remember through the drugs and everything that they gave me, this immense prayer time happened. I remember talking with Jesus, talking with our Blessed Mother to intercede for me, my guardian angels and so forth, my guardian angel and the saints. I remember growing really, really close during that time of the cancer treatments. Cancer-free, okay? But I learned a lot. A lot during prayer. I learned a lot during that time of suffering, and it was bad. Like my skin was falling off and so forth. And I could go to many stories about my life, about the time of suffering, what it is that I've learned and so forth. But that's a lot like us. During the time of suffering and so forth, especially during this time of the scriptures that we're at, we see the Babylonian captivity, we see the Assyrian captivity, and during this time, the priesthood is gone, all these different things are happening, like everybody's gone, and they have no temple. Long story short, the Jewish people start rising up. They start learning during that time of suffering about martyrdom, about standing up for their faith, and basically another priesthood comes in to continue on that line. So what am I getting at? During this time of suffering is an amazing opportunity for us to grow. So that's what it is that I want you to think about today. During your times of suffering, have you grown? And sometimes, what's the beauty of this is, during those times, we can look back on those and gather so much more from those different events. So what are some of those times in your own life of suffering? What is it that you've learned? And how is it that you've continually grown from them? And should you go back to those things? Absolutely. And what is it that you've learned from them? So during this time of Lent, you can definitely apply that to your own spiritual life. Take this day to think about those things. You guys have a blessed day.